By midsummer, the heat could ruin food in a single day. Meat spoiled quickly. Milk turned sour within hours. Vegetables wilted in the sun. And for pioneer families living miles from towns, replacing lost food was not easy. Because on the frontier, spoiled food didn't just mean waste. It could mean hunger. Welcome to Frontier History Archive, where we explore frontier history and life at the edge of civilization. When people imagine pioneer life, they often picture farming, wagons, and cabins. But one of the most constant challenges settlers faced was something far more ordinary: keeping food edible. Without refrigeration, every meal required planning, every season required strategy, and every mistake carried consequences. Summer was the hardest season. Warm temperatures accelerated spoilage. Fresh meat rarely lasted more than a day or two unless preserved immediately. Milk was even more fragile. Even bread could mold quickly in humid conditions. So pioneers relied on methods older than electricity. The most important was drying. Drying removed moisture, the one thing bacteria needed to grow. Meat sliced thin and hung in warm air became jerky. Apples were cut into rings and left in sunlight. Herbs were bundled and hung from cabin ceilings, but drying alone was not enough. Rain, humidity, and insects constantly threatened stored food, so settlers adapted their methods depending on environment and season. Smoking became another essential technique. Smoke slowed bacterial growth while also keeping insects away. Meat hung inside smokehouses for days, slowly absorbing preservation from steady low heat. And then there was salt. Salted meat lasted far longer than fresh cuts. Barrels filled with salted pork or beef were common in frontier homes. But salt was valuable, and using too much could ruin flavor. So preservation became a balance. Enough salt to protect food, but not enough to make meals unbearable. Vegetables required different strategies. Root crops like potatoes, carrots, and turnips were stored underground in root cellars. Cool, dark spaces dug beneath cabins. These natural storage rooms protected food from heat and freezing. Yet even root cellars required maintenance. Too much moisture caused rot, too little caused shriveling. Temperature had to remain steady through changing seasons. Food storage was constant work. Families checked supplies regularly, rotating older items forward. Children often helped inspect dried foods for insects or mold, and preparations started long before winter. Late summer and autumn became seasons of preservation. Entire households worked together, drying fruit, smoking meat, and storing vegetables. Because once winter arrived, fresh food became rare. Meals depended entirely on what families had prepared months earlier, and if they prepared poorly, winter could become dangerous. As autumn ended and winter settled across the frontier, preserved food became the center of daily life. Fresh ingredients nearly disappeared. Rivers froze. Travel slowed. Hunting became less reliable. For many families, the meals they ate in January depended entirely on the work they finished in September. Winter meals were simple but carefully planned. Salted pork, dried beef, beans, flour, and stored vegetables formed the foundation of most diets. Meals were designed to provide energy for long days of physical labor while stretching limited supplies as far as possible. Stews became the most common dish. They allowed families to combine small portions of preserved ingredients into filling meals. Dried vegetables were soaked and slowly cooked. Salted meat was boiled repeatedly to reduce saltiness while creating broth. Bread remained essential. Flour stored in barrels was protected from moisture and insects. Biscuits, cornbread, and simple loaves were baked regularly because they were filling and reliable. Even when other foods were scarce, bread remained steady. But winter also brought uncertainty. Some families discovered too late that their supplies would not last. Diaries describe households carefully rationing portions, measuring food daily to ensure survival until spring planting. The final weeks of winter were often the hardest. This period, sometimes called the lean season, tested endurance. Root cellars emptied, dried foods ran low, hunting remained unpredictable. In these moments, creativity became survival. Families used every available resource. Bones were boiled repeatedly to extract flavor. Leftover bread became thickened soup. Even small scraps were carefully used. And sometimes, pioneers relied on unexpected foods. Wild plants gathered earlier were used sparingly. Stored berries provided rare sweetness. Some frontier families even used roasted grain as substitute meals when supplies were low. Preservation methods also required constant monitoring. Smokehouses had to remain dry. Barrels needed sealing. Stored vegetables required inspection to prevent rot from spreading. Food preservation was never passive storage. It demanded attention year-round. Children learned these responsibilities early. Checking, drying racks, rotating stored produce, and watching for pests became routine tasks. Knowledge passed through generations because survival depended on it. Yet preservation was not only about hardship, there were moments of comfort too. Opening a jar of preserved fruit during winter brought rare enjoyment. Special meals were saved for holidays or community gatherings, reminding families of better seasons. Over time, frontier preservation methods evolved. Glass jars became more common. Storage techniques improved. Communities shared knowledge, refining methods year by year. These changes helped settlements grow stronger and more stable. Because reliable food storage meant something larger than survival, it meant independence. Without refrigeration, without markets, and often without help, pioneer families built food systems entirely from knowledge and effort. Their success depended not on technology, but on patience, planning, and understanding nature's rhythms. And in many ways, the story of frontier survival begins not with danger or adventure, but with something far simpler: the careful work of keeping food from spoiling. Thank you for watching Frontier History Archive, where we explore frontier history and life at the edge of civilization. Until next time, goodbye from Frontier History Archive.